Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Today we're going to have a bit of a discussion regarding the possible future of the DLC format in Total War Warhammer 3. You see, the series has now been going on for a fair few years now, and we've seen quite a lot of DLC being implemented. The most common form of DLC is known as a Lord Pack, which normally introduces two legendary lords, one for one race and one for another. It does vary as to what race is obviously included. Accompanying each respective lord is usually a set of new units, some of them rather iconic ones which were missing from the faction, while others were just some throwaways from bits of the lore. The system itself works rather well, but eventually we are going to run out of possible units for Lord Packs, meaning that eventually certain races and factions might just not get any more content. We talked about this almost a year ago, but the conversation bears repeating as we are getting closer to the third and final game of the series. Many rather famously known characters for many of the races are still missing, but their rosters are almost complete. The Empire itself is almost pretty much done. Many of us are of course expecting a DLC in the future, hopefully to include Boris Todbringer and some Ulrichian units. But with that, I'd say that the Empire roster is as close to complete as possible, and it could be likely we might not see more Empire DLC, which is a bit of a shame, as we would be missing out on such iconic characters such as Marius Leitdorf, the Elector Count of Averland, Kurt Helborg, the Reichsmarschall, and a few others. This isn't a situation similar to that of the Skaven, where most of the characters have been implemented, the iconic ones at least, and we're only waiting for Gracia Thanquol, which is, to be honest, only a matter of time. It can be assumed that both Games Workshop and Creative Assembly would want to milk this franchise for all that it's worth. It's very obvious that we, the fanbase, are wanting for more and more DLC. With the possible lack of new units, it may be that Creative Assembly would have to get, well, a tad creative. A new form of DLC to accompany that of the already established Lord Packs and Race Packs. The form I'm suggesting is that of a Character Pack, a much smaller than usual DLC which could introduce a set number of characters. This could go on the form of Legendary Lord versus Legendary Lord as we're used to, with each Legendary Lord having their own specific faction mechanics and so on. However, there would be no new implemented units. And yes, I understand that this doesn't sound very exciting, but hear me out here, as there is a few ways that this could be made a tad more interesting. DLC packs normally follow a theme, Lord versus Lord, with some sort of intertwining storyline. These specifically wouldn't have to need some sort of storyline, but rather introduce characters and races at a seemingly random way. Many of the races in Warhammer Fantasy have a massive amount of established characters, where they have a bit of lore but there is no direct correlation or no real way as to how to link them with others. Creative Assembly have worked their own way to be able to do this, implementing new sorts of rivalries such as the Hunter and the Beast. But eventually all those ideas will get exhausted, and nobody wants a repeated story over and over. There doesn't really have to be a story if a character is just going to get implemented. I think that I can safely assume that many of us just want our favorite characters in the game. So every now and then a DLC pack could introduce two random legendary lords for different races, which thematically wouldn't make any sense, but could focus around popular well-known characters for Creative Assembly to, well, milk. The lack of new units could indeed be an issue, but there is a way that this could be worked around. These character packs would not only include legendary lords, but also legendary heroes too. Like I said, there are hundreds and hundreds of characters introduced into the Warhammer Fantasy universe. These types of DLC packs could introduce maybe one or two legendary heroes alongside a legendary lord, and the great benefit of this is it doesn't have to be a legendary hero that is attached to said lord. There are many characters already in game which could benefit from legendary heroes. Just off the top of my head, we could say Konrad von Carstein for the von Carstein faction. Ludwig, the banner bearer and personal bodyguard of the Emperor Karl Franz, could also be implemented through something like this. Character packs would greatly benefit already established factions which are missing quite iconic legendary characters. As we have seen, Creative Assembly are more into the idea of introducing more and more legendary heroes. The Twisted and the Twilight actually had 3 different legendary heroes, Gorich and Ariel, which were paid for, and lastly Coadil, which was part of the FLC pack. We have a few legendary heroes already implemented into the game series, but there's just not that many. They are indeed quite a popular feature. Creative Assembly are more than enough aware of this. So the fact is that character packs just selling legendary lords and legendary heroes could prove to be quite profitable. This could also be a way to extend the longevity of the game, as the more characters being implemented means that more and more players will be more incentivized to play. These character packs could also be introduced as a way to shorten the time between DLC launches. Currently we're getting DLC for Total War Warhammer around say 3 to 5 months on an average. So these mini DLCs, so to speak, could be released between those DLC launches. That would keep the interest in the game quite high and more or less reduce the drastic content droughts. Something like this could also benefit the other current games in the Total War franchise. Total War 3 Kingdoms could also take a lot of benefit from this, as there are many characters established around that period of time. If it brings more reason for the fanbase to play, and it brings more money to Creative Assembly, I honestly don't see a reason as to why they wouldn't explore into this. Price-wise, it would probably be a bit cheaper than the average DLC. Currently, the Lord packs themselves are around €10. These mini DLC could easily be sold for say 5. Your region-specific currency will of course vary in regards to this, but I think €5 more or less is quite a fair price. 2 new legendary lords, and hopefully a handful of legendary heroes. Of course, that would all be up to Creative Assembly. It all depends on how much voice acting, motion cap and so on actually takes into account. But what do you think about character packs? I think this is a good way to keep the franchise going. We know that we're in the 3rd and final game of the series, so this is the best time to start introducing loads and loads of new characters. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.